So I found that my vertex is -2, -4. And I'll show you how I found out that -2, -4 is my vertex for my graph. That's erased, you just can't see it, that it's erased. Okay, so I'll show you how I found out that that's my lowest point, the sharp point, my bottom of this graph. And that's why I put it in the middle of the table. So how did I get that? Well, if you first look up here and say, well, what's under my absolute value, or what? How do I make my absolute value, this 1/2 x minus 1 plus 1, how do I get it to equal 0? Okay, and that is going to help me to find my vertex. If I can set the 1/2 x plus 1 equals 0, we'll show you more why later. 1/2 x plus 1 equals 0. Okay. That's a plus. Can't see it. So if I subtract 1, I get 1/2 x equals -1. If I multiply both sides by 2, 2 times 1/2 is just 1x. That's how I get rid of the fraction, right? Multiplied by what it's divided by. And over here I have -1 multiplied by 2, -2. So if x is -2, if x is -2 here, then this is all 0, right? So if it's 0, I can just cover it up because it's gone. That means my fx is equal to -4. Fx is equal to -4 when my x is -2. Okay, and then I put that in the middle, and then I subtract 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, add 1, add 1, add 1, and I can usually get a nice picture of where my v is when I graph out everything else. Okay, this one here in my table. How am I going to get the vertex in the middle? My x, my fx, my x, oh sorry, that's my fx. You can't really see it very well. Let me try again. Now my fx, okay. So, to get my vertex again, let's see how we can make this equal 0. I think if I put a 2 for x, 2 take away 2, gone. So if x is 2, then the fx, the answer, is 0. Well, negative absolute value of 0. That's just 0. Okay. Then I can subtract 1. So it's 1, 0. And I can add 1, 3, 4. And now I can put those in and get my v. First point of the v is 2, 0. 2 over, 0 up or down. Okay. I believe my v is going to be upside down on this one because there's a negative sign in the front. I found my vertex at -2, 2 for this one. -2, 2, my vertex. How I found that? I let the absolute value equal 0. So I guess x has to be a -2 because -2 plus 2 is 0. So if my x is -2, then this whole thing is 0. I can cover it up. What's my fx? +2. Fx is 2. When that's gone, when that's 0. Okay? That's why I put a 2 for the fx, because my x was -2. Okay? Some examples of how to get your vertex. This one, you can get your vertex with, I think it'll be -1 for the x. And then your answer will be 0. There's nothing else added on over here, like a +7 like there was here, or a +2 or whatever. So this one's even easier. You just put a -1 for your x and a 0 for the y. I hope that helped.